it's just about dawn, and I'm probably about a mile on the boat, heading towards 5 Mile Bridge. We're pretty much parked almost exactly where the switchover is from the River Witham to the Fosdyke, and I'm walking to 5 Mile Bridge, which is 5 miles from the beginning of the Fosdyke along the Witham, along this, which I think is the old railway track. Now the question is, what would possess somebody to get up at dawn to walk 5 miles away from Lincoln, to walk 4.8 miles back to Lincoln in order to get to a bakery? I really just wanted to have the opportunity to have a walk. I like to walk to be able to kind of clear my head and think and ponder and ask myself big questions about the world and sometimes really small questions about myself. And so long walks have turned into kind of my way of doing that. Eventually, round about the time that I get to the bakery, that almost 10 miles of walking has made it okay to have a small baked good. All right, well, at this point I can confirm I am definitely on a railway. Well, what was a railway? There's another bridge back there for the current railway. So, finally arriving at 5 Mile Bridge. Been walking for 5 miles, essentially. It's funny because both the first time I got here and this time that I'm arriving, and the times I've passed under it on a boat, I thought 5 Mile Bridge is an awfully impressive name for a bridge. And, you know, it's not that I want to see a bridge that's 5 miles long, it just sounds impressive. Then you actually get here, and it's a pretty mundane bridge, as bridges go. Unfortunately, it's so backlit right now that I can barely see, and the camera can't get a shot of it. So I'll show it to you as I walk over instead. And so one of the fun things about 5 Mile Bridge is that once you reach it and you walk 5 miles, you find out you got to go past 5 miles to get on to the 5 Mile Bridge. It's not something that makes you think, well, that was worth 5 miles of walking. It's got its virtues, that's for sure. So I'm in Fiskerton and found the signs for the Viking Way. Last time I ended up walking along a fairly major road without a lot of pavement or anything. So I think I'm going to try the public footpaths to Cherry Willingham, and then on to Greetwell, where I know I can rejoin the Viking Way and hopefully save myself having to get out of the way of a bunch of cars, because there was a lot of vehicle traffic last time. So far, the Viking Way is absolutely lovely. I'm glad I went this route rather than the road. And it's also well appointed with stairs, and clearly has gotten a lot of use, which makes sense considering it is one of the official long walks. Getting to the home stretch, but we gotta try and address what I think of over there as Lincoln's Castle of Cowshit. The walls of the ancient fortress of what was once Farts, put into place, I think, by Sir Booze-a-Lot. Yeah. In the summertime, if you're walking, right? So I've walked up to Peregrine Mews, and by looking for letter K, it just says bread cheese here. So if you've come here and you found bread cheese, you're in the right place, because over there is Grain of Truth Bakery and the wee little Grain of Truth van, which is what shows up at the markets and stuff. Yeah, hopefully they've got some cardamom nuts that I can get one of.
Okay, set the pot.
It's like a side of pastry.
Okay, you know you've found something good, especially a bakery, when you arrive at just before 9 o'clock and there's already the beginnings of a line, and by the time you've gotten to the front and bought your thing, there's quite a line. I've gotten a lovely cardamom roll. That's my favorite thing. And turns out on Sundays they have the jalapeno roll thing, so I might have to come back tomorrow just to have one sinful last one of those. And because I've walked so many miles, I think I've also allowed myself for today a Marmite croissant. This is like way more baked goods than I usually give myself in a day. It's more like what I usually give myself in a week or two. And yeah, I'm gonna have to work it off and do some more stairs. But I'm gonna enjoy them. I am gonna have to find someplace to sit and enjoy them. Right, so I found this little bench beside a place called Caslet Engineering, which is thankfully closed today. This is the Marmite croissant. Not for the faint of heart, I think. Marmite and cheese. On its own, that's probably more than I should have. This guy, though, is the reason why I came. This is their cardamom roll, cardamom nut. They also do a chocolate nut. So, I know this is going to be video's turned into like a commercial for these guys because they haven't sponsored me. They haven't sponsored the videos. I paid for every bit. When I had the first cardamom nut down in Boston, I was just like, oh my god, that like is the best thing that I've ever tried in terms of bread. And I've only had their cardamom nuts at places that I found where I've been, you know, we got into town and I found the cafe that had them, and I found the bookstore that had them. But these are like day old or like a little bit older by the time I've shut up. They're a little bit, they're not stale, but they're a little bit less than fresh. And I come into the bakery and it's like, okay, 9 o'clock in the morning, there's a few people who've lined up in front of me. Clearly this is a local secret that everybody knows about, that has found it. And last week, I came in and had their jalapeno cheese thing, and I was disappointed because I'd shown up and they didn't have the cardamom nut, and I was so disappointed. I was like, I've walked 10 miles and I'm not getting the thing I want. And I was like, okay, well that does look interesting. I'll give it a try. Came up here, was walking along, took one bite and was like, I need to go back and get 5. Thank God they've only got the one that I've just purchased. And this is the same thing. It's just a croissant with a bit of Marmite in it. But I've had croissants in Paris. I've had croissants like around the world. And okay, a Paris croissant is a different thing than this. But these guys are gods at bread. So if you're ever near Lincoln, figure out a way to be in Lincoln on a Saturday or Sunday morning and go to Unit K in Peregrine Mews and get yourself a Marmite croissant. Oh my God. This is like one of those things that makes me think, how could I never have this again? This is torture because we're leaving today. This isn't just the hunger of 10 miles of walking, talking. This is possibly the best bake could have had in my life. I want to buy all their breads. They've got this artisanal grain that's like a recovered grain that somebody was talking about, the Orly Bloomer, and they were out of it today. And the woman in front of me was so disappointed that she's turning around and driving back however far she has to drive tomorrow to try and get some more of it, because it didn't turn out. But yeah, I haven't tried anything that isn't worth every penny. This will also be going away very soon. I'm going to do that while I walk though, so I'm not going to film myself eating that one. Okay, I lied. There's a part of me that definitely doesn't like the idea of being seen to be eating things. But this is the fresh cardamom nut. And fresh. Fresh. It's like these guys should found a religion